right, I'm gonna hit record. All right, so we are going, and welcome y'all to this week's edition of the Cheap Pop Podcast. I am here once again with that guy, Alpha. And that guy. And we are here to talk to you about, well, what I considered one of the best WWE pay-per-views that they've put on in a while. A lot of people normally have a lot of, and what I mean by that is not necessarily by my personal opinion, because I haven't really been too disappointed with too many of the WWE pay-per-views recently. Maybe some of the finishes, but overall as a pay-per-views, I've enjoyed myself. But I would say from fan reaction, from internet critical, Twitter, Facebook reaction, this has been one of the most positively received pay-per-views I've seen from them in a long while.
Yeah, the IWC, as many would call it, has taken a big liking to this one, and rightfully fucking so. Like I said, walking into this Rumble from last year's Rumble for me was almost a no-brainer, only because last year's was so fucking good.
Yeah.
And like you said, in the last year, I don't know about you, but I've held most wrestling shows to a whole different standard, mostly because COVID changes fucking everything. And I know that doesn't really that of course matters when it comes to the crowd aspect, but that does change the aspect of how things need to be written, especially when it comes to multi-man matches. Obviously, you can only have so many people in that ring right now, right? Way less than we would be able to normally. And so walking into this, I didn't lower my expectations, but because of last year, I don't know about you, but I've held everything in a whole different regard. So I wasn't really. I was simultaneously expecting something good because of last year's Rumble, but telling myself not to get my hopes up too high, mostly because in reality, I didn't expect more than 7 people to be in that ring at a given time, and it pretty much like that, even if it was fucking amazing.
Well, I was going to say the women's Rumble saw, I want to say at least 10 to 12, because I remember at one point going like, nobody's been eliminated yet. Why has nobody, like from the get-go, like I was just like, there's a lot of people in that ring.
By the time Victoria came out, I was like,
yeah,
who's gotten eliminated in like the last 10 fucking minutes?
But the men's one, I would say there was no more than 7 or 8 men in that ring at any given time during the Rumble. Like people were being quickly eliminated from that Rumble.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's kick this off. Let's start from the lowest part of the card as far as matches, and then work our way up as far as singles to those Rumble matches. The pre-show match, which surprised me that it ended up being a pre-show match, because I actually watched the return of backstage.
Yeah.
Right, like it aired from 2 to 3, and then that led me directly into the pre-show, which led me into the Rumble. So it was like something like 5 hours of wrestling straight.
God damn right.
Damn right. But the pre-show, like I did not expect there to be a match, or if it was, there was going to be some kind of innocuous match, and instead we get the women's tag team championships changing places in the whatchamacallit, which I believe, spoiler alert, y'all, I believe is setting up, all of this is setting up a match between Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania.
With a questionable plot, but yeah. It is setting up inevitably, yeah.
Oh, you could ask my fiance. Every time that Lacey Evans is on screen and she's flirting with Ric Flair, I'm like, you're married. They already established that on screen. You're married.
3 months ago. Not even months ago. It fucking happened, man. Like it didn't even fucking happen.
Well, the WWE universe is like one of them tapes at a poor liquor store. It just re-records over itself and erases what happened before.
It's fucking horrible. I don't really like the duo of Nia and Shayna all too much, not because I don't like them, but because I think they're better both as individuals, even if Nia is botch machine number 2. Number 1 being Eva Marie.
Oh, God.
You don't like all red everything?
No.
Good. Smart man. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't like that tag team all too much, mostly because I like to see them both as individuals. But I was pretty happy to see Charlotte Flair not have a title anymore. So they're soulless in that.
Well, I don't know. Like I kind of like the pairing of Charlotte and Asuka. Like I don't know. I wanted to see them hold on to the titles till WrestleMania,
I
but
think
I also understand that they have different plans for them.
yeah.
But so I actually think I had this, like I said, I actually have always thought since they started going back and forth that the Charlotte Flair thing was leading to a match between her and Lacey Evans. But I actually think what they're attempting to do also is free up Asuka to probably face Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania for the women's title.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they're not building to Bliss versus Asuka, then they're building to Belair versus Asuka going
Yeah.
forward. If not, then Asuka's dropping that title, and Bianca is facing whoever else has it from that
Oh,
point
so
on.
you see her coming over to Raw. You don't see her facing Sasha Banks? Oh, we'll get to that later. We'll
Oh
get to
yeah,
that
yeah,
later.
yeah, yeah,
Save
yeah.
that.
Okay,
Save
okay.
that.
Actually,
We'll
yeah,
get to
save
that
that,
later.
save that.
Um,
But yeah,
but yeah,
in all, the only problem I have with the tag team angle between Charlotte and Asuka is that Asuka is really fucking good, and every time I'm here, I always put Asuka over.
right.
But Asuka more or less feels like a pawn in the game of what's going on with Charlotte and everyone else 90% of the time. And I don't just mean with this particular storyline. I mean whatever is going on with Asuka. I mean whatever is going on with Charlotte. Asuka just sort of plays second fiddle to, so long as she has that championship. So I'm
I feel
hoping
you.
that at least it'll put more attention on Charlotte as an individual and cut Asuka away from that just enough to make her
Fair
look
enough.
good going into Mania season as the champ.
Oh, so on a side note, I had completely forgotten that Miss Renee Paquette had announced that she was pregnant.
Oh yeah, she's
And
pregnant.
I'm sitting here watching backstage and I'm like, she looked like she got a little pudge. Like, has she gotten fat? Like, and then all of a sudden, like she was standing there talking to somebody, standing there talking to Booker T, and I was like, yeah, I think she's pregnant.
Definitely
And my
pregnant.
girl's like, you think so? And I'm like,
Oh,
I, I, and then I went on, of course, I went on our lovely Google and
yep.
typed in, when did Renee Paquette announce she was pregnant? And they were something like December. I was like, oh, snap.
Oh shit.
Oh, snap.
All members of the Shield are pregnant right now, man.
It's
Seth
true,
just,
huh?
Seth just came back from paternity leave. If I'm not mistaken, Roman
Yep.
is pregnant with like his second pair of fucking twins. And,
Yeah.
and now Mr. Moxley's having his first fucking child, which I'm betting money is gonna be a girl. Because
Yeah.
like good wrestlers always have girls, man. Austin, Mr.
Lesnar.
Perfect, Kurt Hennig, Lesnar, Reigns,
He's got a
Rollins.
daughter that looks like him, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Exactly, dude.
I mean no harm in saying that, but damn.
Literally Lesnar with tits, dude.
Yeah,
Literally
it's
Lesnar with tits.
um Lesnar with tits, that's great. But anyway, like I tell you, okay, so I wanted to slip this in while we're in between matches. I need to apologize. I need to apologize to Rhea Ripley. Because this entire time that she has been a wrestler, I have assumed that she was gay and was
No,
proud
dude,
of her for it.
dude, no. Wait, before you even finish this thought, in the middle of the show yesterday, my fucking girlfriend is like, "Isn't she a lesbian?" I'm like, "No."
I was scrolling through Facebook the other day and saw like wrestling couples from AEW and WWE, and it was like Adam Cole and Dr. Britt Baker and like a couple other people, and then it was like Rhea Ripley and Action Jackson, and it's this like
What the fuck?
huge fucking black dude, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
oh,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
she's not. Okay, and I have to apologize because that was all on me. That was solely 100% all on me. I thought that because I thought that, and I shouldn't have thought that, and I need to apologize.
Yeah,
I don't want her man to come into me in my dreams and beat the holy hell out of me
Burning
because he looked
hammer.
like he could. Like,
No, I remember like literally, it's like Rhea is huge, right? Rhea's fucking massive.
big bro.
And then you see the pictures of them together, and she's looking up at him. It's like, oh wait, that's a big motherfucker, isn't it?
He makes her look small.
Yeah,
He does.
Imagine.
Yeah. Oh man, but anyway, yeah, I just had to slip that in there while we
No,
was
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did.
because that you can ask my girl who watched the Rumble with me. When I watched that women's Rumble and Rhea Ripley came out, I was like, man, I gotta apologize to her on the next show we do because man, like that ain't right. That I was thinking that just ain't right. Um, you're married. You stop it. You're
Married.
married.
You're married. I know you're married, Rick.
No, Rick too. I'm talking about Lacey Evans. They, but anyway, Naomi and Lana got a women's tag team title shot. I'll be damned. Yep. They're the number one contenders. All right, yeah, it's gonna be fun watching Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax destroy them. As much as I love Naomi and Lana is all right, but yeah, it's gonna be weird watching Nia
Not a
Jax.
competition.
Yeah.
Not a competition.
So anyway, on to more.
Let's talk the Universal title match, huh?
Okay, to me,
Let's talk.
that was my match of the night.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was so fucking good.
And I'm sorry.
Fucking good match.
I know there's all these AEW marks out there. Oh, they did the golf cart bit a while ago. I love the golf cart bit in Stadium Stampede. First of all, shut up. It's something that's been done before, like twice by WWE before AEW did it. And
Go watch WrestleMania X7. Go watch WrestleMania X7.
But the way that they did it is what made it so perfect to me, because you stuck with Kevin Owens all through the backstage area as he's stumbling along, and you're assuming Roman's somewhere behind the camera, chasing after him,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he comes to the stop, and the ref's like, "Are you okay?
Boom.
Are you okay?" And then, boom, out of nowhere, and I was just like, "That was awesome." And Roman's just chilling in the driver's seat, like, and looks in the camera, throws it in reverse, and backs up. And I was just like, that was awesome.
Pimp shit.
It's just some shit. That's some head of the table shit right
yes,
there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, like you can say AEW did it first. You can go for that all you want. They didn't have that impact though. Owens looked like he got fucking split in half, and that was the best part. The noise, the crunch, that was everything. It was fucking great.
And then Roman just looks at the camera and just backs up like it was nothing. Like, oops, my bad.
Was that me?
But no, big time. Just the way the match played out, the fact that they used the entire arena for a match in which you would think that they would want to stay in the ring because most of your viewers are virtual. They made it a point to go all around that arena and use a bunch of backstage. And I thought that they were going Mankind Rock when he got on that forklift. Oh no! I was like, oh, he about to pin him underneath the thing so he can't get up. Watch. I was like, here he comes. And then all of a sudden he started climbing it, and I was like,
oh wait,
what's this crazy white boy about to do? Oh shit!
Some shit. No, man, I was fuck. I thought we were going Mankind and Rock when I saw handcuffs. I thought we were counting 11 chair shots to the head again. I thought we were going the other way around with that shit. See, like, no, man, look, I don't know if I've talked about it on the show before, but Cody Rhodes. This might be a little bit long, but Cody Rhodes, when you see him alongside all the other AEW stars, you'll notice he has a work rate style that's a little bit different. And I'm not gonna say that he is any better or worse. So undeniably, he's fucking great. But I'm not gonna say he's any better or any worse in a specific way here, though. But I'll say Cody, you'll notice, has a style that is a little less physical than the rest of AEW's roster. He's a lot less physical, and it's a lot more focused on storytelling. It's a lot more focused on almost NWA style, slow-paced, methodical storytelling, right?
Non-wasted movements.
Yeah, non-wasted movements. Everything means something. Every little move is a plot point, right?
Right.
And you'll notice Reigns hasn't really expanded his moveset massively. He's just learned how to time everything way fucking better. You'll notice he has a much better storytelling value as a wrestler now, and I think in this match, even better than the match that he had with fucking Jey Uso. He's shown that he can tell a story. And I exactly. And with someone like Owens, it was fucking perfect because Owens is clearly a very passionate worker.
Right.
And exactly what you said there. You know, I love the pyro that they do with Orton and the way they went to the crowd. It was using the fucking Thunderdome as best as you can, because obviously you can't get that physical between people. You can't get
Right.
that physical between Rose, fucking Ada
You're
G.
not you're
Yeah,
not allowed to go out into the crowd in a stadium field in the COVID-19 era. I
right.
doubt that match goes out into the crowd. It probably goes backstage by going back up the ramp as opposed to through the crowd if there's an actual crowd there. You know what I'm saying? And that's huge. You're right. It is huge because that fight has a different atmosphere if there's a crowd there.
Yeah,
You know, with them trying to go through the crowd and everything. But I like the way that they put it in. A friend of mine kept mentioning that she thinks that when they do the Thunderdome thing, there should be little cameras above each like little thing, little person, and if a wrestler gets thrown towards you, it looks like the wrestler's being thrown at you.
that's so
And I
cool.
was like, that would be cool, but WWE ain't going through all that trouble.
So
Like,
fucking awesome. They wouldn't do
uh,
something that awesome. That's too awesome for them. But
yeah,
damn, that's such a good idea though. That'd be so
but
cool. It was
at
cool,
the end,
like seeing
well,
Roman get slammed into the pain of a child, and the child realizing he's on TV and going fucking bonkers. Like that shit was pretty
you
funny.
saw that
Yeah,
too,
like, you see Roman's head snap back, and the kid just loses it. And my brother's fucking this shit is
yeah.
too good.
Oh my goodness. But here's where it got me. Okay. Here's what I like. Despite the botched ending, which that ending was botched because Heyman kind of fucked up not being able to get Roman out of those cuffs fast enough.
Should have just been Uso. Should have been one of the
Yeah.
Usos.
Um, it still was a great match. I still enjoyed it. And for me, what it was, like you said, it was the storytelling. It was the fact that there were several times during that match in which, even though in my head I know Roman's not losing that belt before WrestleMania or even
Oh yeah,
at WrestleMania, probably. You know what
Kevin
I'm
had
saying?
just a moment.
Um, as much as I know up here, there were several times during that match in which they made me believe Kevin Owens might win. And when you go in, it's like watching a John Cena match. Those were his best matches. The matches where you knew John Cena was not going to drop the title. But him and his opponent put on a good enough show that it made you think twice a couple of times during the match. Like, is he gonna drop the title?
Yeah.
Is this dude about to do it? And I like that in wrestling because as much as everybody talks about the curtain of kayfabe, which one of our guests here soon on the show, Jamil, he talks about that's how he thinks Vince McMahon killed wrestling is not by all the other stuff that he does, but because he killed kayfabe.
He killed
and
believability in wrestling, right?
yeah, and so he's like he pulled the curtain back, and I'm like, you know what, I can agree with him to an extent, but I think the human mind and when it's watching wrestling works a little bit differently today. I don't think we need kayfabe as much because I don't think people want to be told stories, but I don't think they want to be told the type of stories that they wanted to be told in the 80s. Yes, some of our best 80s moments in wrestling came from very human moments. The marriage of Macho Man Randy. All right, yeah. So like I was saying, like I think that kayfabe is something that people want, but it's different nowadays. Like I don't think people want kayfabe the same way that they did, like say 10, 15 years ago. Like I said, like those stories between Macho Man Randy Savage and Elizabeth, those stories between Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage over Elizabeth, those type of stories were great. But we wanted larger than life characters. We wanted Zeus. We wanted you know what I'm saying, the Ultimate
Ultimate
Warrior.
Warrior, right?
You know,
Yeah.
we wanted these larger than life characters that aren't necessarily wanted as much as they were back then. Nowadays they're just not. And so I think that kayfabe isn't nearly as important because here's the deal: regardless of whether or not you know who may be expected to win the match, you don't truly know. And yeah, okay. People say, "Oh, well, if you look at dirt pages enough, you see the right answer enough times, you begin to believe that they know what they're talking about." Well, yeah, they probably do know what they're talking about. But you know what? Me and Cole went back and forth predicting pay-per-views for like 2 years straight. He won about half of them. I won about half of them because you go on streaks where for 5 or 10 pay-per-views you get every match right because you've watched wrestling for so long that you pretty much know how these things go. And I think that's part of the problem now is a lot of wrestling's fan base isn't as young as it was back in the 90s. So a lot of the wrestling's fan base has seen a lot of this stuff before.
Yeah. Like you've talked about it a lot before, but when you consume enough wrestling, I'm not gonna say that it becomes predictable. That's a bit that feels a bit more venomous than I'm trying to get off. But
Right.
you begin to notice a few tactics used for wrestling storytelling. You begin to
Patterns.
pick up on a
Yeah.
few things, patterns, as you will, right? You pick up on a few things like that. So yeah, that definitely is a good point. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the talk of whether wrestling is good or bad with kayfabe, I think it does come down to preference at the end of the day, as always, right? But it makes me think about this question that I derive from another video game that I'm a huge fucking fan of,
Yeah.
and it would go along lines of something of like, would it have been better if wrestling was never revealed as fake and this was all real to begin with, or is it better that we as a business are so fucking good at this that we can make everyone for just a minute believe that it's real? It's
And
about
that's
that. It's about that suspension of disbelief. We've talked about it before, and as much as as wrestling purists, as much as people like Cornette will scream in your face that wrestling died when kayfabe was when the curtain was pulled back, right?
yeah,
I think as of now, like you said, it's changed, and the art of wrestling now more or less revolves around how good you can be at suspending someone's disbelief,
yeah,
at making someone believe it, even for just a second, that all of this is real, that hatred is real, that specific feud is real, so on and so forth.
exactly. I think yes, KFAB helped, especially in the 80s.
Yeah,
Because like I said, I'll put it to you like this. If the Ultimate Warrior is standing on a street corner giving a promo on top of a soapbox, I'm probably gonna walk by that dude shaking my head going, mental hospital need to come get him. But I loved him as a wrestling character. I got it. It was awesome. Yeah, dude, I don't know what mothership you talking about. I hope it comes for you soon. But get in that ring and beat some people's ass, So it was just one of those type of things where I think that for some, yes, and for a lot, which is why wrestling shows have gone from 6 million fans in episode to barely 2. It's because yes, pulling back the curtain turned off a lot of people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think that wrestling is starting to develop new fans, and they're starting to develop different fans who expect something different. I think the average fan today expects a good match before they expect a good story, which can sometimes make things difficult for people watching wrestling today, because wrestling's still trying to tell stories.
Yeah.
And a lot of their audience really just only cares about what goes on in ring. Like, just show me 2 wrestlers going at it. And
yeah,
and
I know what you
and
mean.
so it's like
there is that idea that I told you about before. Is it do we care about why they're fighting or how they're fighting, right?
or how to fight. Exactly. And I think once again, when I watch AEW, I care more about how they're fighting. When I watch WWE, sometimes I care why, because I know that WWE is trying to tell me a story, and are they the best at it? Nah.
I told you that before. Yeah, that's the difference in crowd. WWE tells you why they're fighting, and that's the focus, and
Yep.
and for most hardcore fans, that's the problem. That a lot of people were mad. Do we need a reason for Shinsuke and AJ to fight each other? Fuck no.
No.
No. You could literally put them at other ends of the ring without any singular context, and everyone in the room will be frothing out the fucking mouth for that. There's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
Sometimes you don't need to necessarily build it like that, but sometimes it's the opposite, and they don't need it, but they do anyways.
Mm-hmm.
and
Like, I don't think that Samoa Joe.
Vice versa.
I'll say I don't think that Samoa Joe AJ Styles feud needed as much build as it got.
Exactly.
Those two had worked together enough. Speaking of, I was watching Raw real quick today, and I was telling my fiance that it was weird to me when I listened to Joe talk about Xavier Woods, because they have to have known each other for like close to 20 years.
I was gonna say Consequences Creed and TNA back in fucking 0405, bro.
You know, I was just like, they had to have known each other for at least 10, 15, 20 years. So listening to Joe talk about him, you can kind of hear that love coming out in his voice.
Yeah.
You know, even though Joe's the heel commentator,
Yeah, right. Even though
you know,
he's the heel commentator, the one
exactly.
the heels on the table here. Now
And
let's
I
go.
did have a slight expectation of, they had so many open spots in the Rumble. I was like, I bet you Joe's one of them.
Joe,
And
no,
then,
yeah. Like, give me Joe. Come on, give me Joe.
exactly, but they didn't. Boo.
Come on, imagine if there was just a face-off between Joe and Priest. Or fucking just like think about that shit, man.
Oh. Is there any explanation why he's on the commentating booth? Is that just more of what he at this point in his career, what he would rather do, or like?
Last I checked, he was there because he was injured. He was
Okay.
injured, and they were like, "We need you. We want you to do something." And he was like, "Okay, I'll be a commentator." And so they let him. And I don't know if he's even medically cleared yet.
Okay.
Usually, we'll get reports of whether if not someone is medically cleared or not first, but it seems like they're doing the whole Austin Aries on 205 Live bit where he was injured for a long while, so they stuck him on commentary knowing he was going to be there for a minute, but we'll just hope and pray that the boy doesn't get tazzed, right?
Yeah, no. All right, so the last two matches we have to talk about. I did not give either one of them good grades on my review on my blog today.
Really?
Carmella and Sasha was all right.
Oh, right. No, okay, keep going. We're good. They talk about the Rumble match, doesn't?
No. I'm talking about the last two matches, single like non-Rumble matches we have to talk about.
I agree.
Sasha and Carmella just didn't do it for me, and mainly it's because of Carmella. Like they keep putting her in the ring with people that she shouldn't be in the ring with.
There's a lot of problems going on with this. You know of all people that I was a very passionate Carmella hater for a long time. Was not a big fan. We're super kicking the game, I say. But even counting James Ellsworth is fucking excuse.
I just was not impressed with the match at all.
Yeah.
The most impressive things that I saw in the match all came from Sasha Banks and her work in the ring. And yeah, stop giving Carmella WWE title matches. Hashtag stop.
Hashtag stop. Stop that shit.
Just hashtag stop giving her. It's fine. I get it. She was WWE champion. She was Miss Money in the Bank. She really deserves to be up there. She's a veteran. She's been around for a while. Should she lasted longer than Enzo Amore or
Big Cass,
Big Cass. So there's got to be something good about her. And I think part of the good thing about her is that she's married to Corey Graves. That's why she keeps getting these matches or getting married to Corey Graves or whatever. But yeah, man, I'm just like, just stop. Like, it's kind of like with Lana. I love Lana. I think she should be a manager. I think she's okay wrestling every now and then.
Do something else, man.
But she should not be in any title picture. Like, okay, I'm down with her being the tag team championship contenders. A, because I don't believe they'll actually put the straps on them at WrestleMania. But B, also, Naomi, I believe, could pretty much carry a match on her own, a tag team match on her own, without Lana having to do too much work.
In terms of female work rate, Naomi could get in there with a fucking chair. By the end of this, just because Naomi is that fucking reliable as an in-ring competitor, and I'm not even gonna lie to you there. But yeah, in cases like these, there's usually an imbalance of they're either a worker to focus on physicality and not enough character work, or it's too much character work and there's not enough physicality being told here for it to be any bit believable. There is neither here. Carmella simultaneously lacks any physicality for her to be any bit believable as an in-ring competitor, and she has yet to be written in anything either funny or compelling, which in the wrestling world means you are not going fucking anywhere.
Amen.
I know that she can do better, especially as a heel, because Carmella can draw heat. Carmella can draw heat, man. She's hateable. She can draw heat.
Easily.
But they're not playing to that. They're doing this all about the wrong ways. They can often pull out the character of someone, but they're not doing that quite right here. So I want to see this done right.
Yes,
But
100%.
as of right,
There is a correct way to do the
there's
Carmella character, and I just don't
absolutely.
think it's been done. But so I don't know if you noticed when you watched the match, but there was this moment, and there was actually an article about it on Facebook earlier today. My fiance shared it with me. There was a scene where Carmella tried to do a dive out the ring. And first and foremost, mistake number one, Carmella, Sasha Banks is entirely too short for you to be trying to do a through the second rope, like whatchamacallit, when she's kneeling down. Maybe if she's standing tall, she can catch you around her shoulder area, but she was kind of still getting up when Carmella leaped.
Okay.
And like she ended up catching her on her shoulder, and Carmella kind of face planted into the mat behind her. And you kind of, and my girl first noticed it, but you kind of see Sasha Banks kind of like, you all
Good.
right? Like you good?
No,
Like she
you,
kind
I
of
know what you mean.
taps her.
The tap, the you fucking good mate. Yeah.
Because like when Sasha caught her, let's put it to you like this: when Sasha caught uh Carmella, Carmella's ass was like right here. So
Oh,
you know how tall Carmella is.
yeah.
So the rest of her was all the way out there, and
Oh,
Sasha's
no.
trying to take her
Oh,
back
no.
on the suicide dive. And I was just like, oh my God, that
Bad
girl
move.
just ate Matt.
Fucking mouthful of Matt.
um but it was an interesting take, but it was just more interesting to see a commercial or see an article on Facebook where they're like, did you notice that Sasha Banks like checked on Carmella like mid-match? And my girl's like, I bet you it's that one, it's that it was that time when she did the dive and she face
Bro.
planted. Oh yeah, it reminded me, you to be honest with you, it didn't give me as bad of a shiver as it did as this one did, but it reminded me kind of when Brock Lesnar, the
Oh
Brock
no.
Lesnar, yeah, no, it wasn't as completely
When is
bad
as
as that.
fortuitous as that?
Yeah, it didn't make me worry about her the way it made me worry about Brock. Like there's an article where Kurt Angle says he thought Brock was dead. I thought Brock was dead too, until I saw him move. I was like, oh my God, this man did killed himself in the ring.
Fucking God. The only singular reason that Brock fucking survived that is that motherfucker's got fucking trap muscles like a fucking toad, bro. That
Oh,
motherfucker is built like a fucking pit bull. I
hell
don't know
yeah.
what that dude is. Oh wait, no, I know what that guy eats. That motherfucker's on caveman diet. He eats what he fucking hunts and kills. God damn.
No shit.
The only way you can survive folding like a fucking lawn chair is if you're built like Brock Lesnar, bro. That shit was
Pretty
nasty.
much.
Watching his
Their head first. Oh.
Never again.
But anyway, but that, like I said, I gave that match like a B. Like Sasha Banks brought it up to about a B,
I'd give
maybe
it
a C plus.
I'd give it
Yeah,
a C. To me, that's a C.
C for Carmella, huh?
C for Mella.
But all right, so the final match, he gave us everything he had. I love Goldberg. Goldberg needs to stay out of a WWE ring. And I say that with a heavy heart because the man's in shape. It has nothing to do with his physical shape at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That match was hard to watch. And it started out fast. Like I like the fact that McIntyre, gives him the headbutt and then goes for the Claymore right off the back. And before the match even started, it started off hot. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we're gonna get a good match. And then the match happened. Yeah, go and once again, I'm not saying this because of anything that happened in the match. I'm saying this because I watched Goldberg for 25 minutes after what was approximately probably about a 7 to 10 minute match. Try to catch his breath for a good 15 minutes, or at least what felt like 15 minutes, as he was
him taking his breath and getting his time out of the ring was longer than the match itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't an insult, all respect to the fucking man himself, all respect, but there comes a time when your body just straight up cannot handle this.
Yeah.
People don't want to get to that point. Ric Flair didn't want to get to that point, but I think we got to that point in 05, 06 when we saw Flair in TNA, and we saw, I mean in the 2000s when we saw Flair in TNA. In the 2010s we saw Flair, and it was not the same way as 10 years prior, and I think Goldberg's really having that same effect, and it's no insult, and for what it's worth, it was a better match than his match with the Fiend.
Yeah, it
Even if
was. It
we
was a better match than.
yeah, it was better than his match with the Fiend. He got a better jackhammer off there than he did with the Fiend. And
Yep.
if this is Goldberg's last match, it's better than going off on that note. And you know
Yeah.
what? All that matters to me here is that he put Drew over. This
Yeah.
would have been an outrage. I would be inflamed right now on this
If
show if
Goldberg had
Goldberg
won.
was a fucking champion. But all that matters to me is that not only did he put Drew over, he put Drew over like a fucking god. Drew,
Hmm.
as again, fucking somehow again, looks like one of the strongest players on the roster. Not just because he has a belt, but because as a character, he's made to look like when he hits someone with a fucking claymore, their head is gone for all intents and purposes.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
My man.
sell their asses off, and it's great. And you know, they got to keep that gravy train rolling with McIntyre. You know, he's about to be walking into Mania, and that would mean that he's looked clean for over a full year now, which
Just about.
by WWE standards, by 50-50 booking standards, is a
It's
pretty good
huge.
fucking testament, man.
Yep.
Just to the idea, not that like, oh, Drew has stupid substance or he has stupid storylines. It's that Drew looks strong. He looks
No
believable,
matter what.
not as a wrestler, but as a fucking champion, as a
Yeah.
face champion at that. Knowing damn well that Vince can't book a face champion, this has gone tremendously fucking well.
No.
And this was the cherry on top walking into WrestleMania season.
And I definitely think it proved him to be a strong competitor as far as just what he can do in ring. Like he didn't have the best possible opponent, but he made that match look decent.
Very much so.
You know, like he did carry the match, and so bravo to him. You know, he got another legend out the way, so to speak. But Drew McIntyre deserved to win that match. Goldberg did not. And it went the right way, but it was still a tough match to watch. It was still a tough match to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Near the end, it got a little tough to watch. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of what we're here.
Oh yeah, unlike the Women's Royal Rumble match, which was an amazing match to watch. It was beautiful. I'm going to tell you, first and foremost, I was completely happy with a lot of the surprise entrants. Jillian Hall, really?
Jillian fucking Hall, man. No, right?
Like I had to explain who she was to my significant other while we were sitting there watching it. Like she was JBL's personal assistant. She had this thing on her face, and the boogeyman ate it. And but yeah, seeing Jillian Hall, Victoria, literally. Victoria. Have not seen that woman since I literally met her face to face at WrestleMania 33 at a house party when it was in Santa Clara at a house party that me and my old co-host, your boy Cole, went to. Have not seen that woman anywhere since that, and it was so nice to see her again. It was, and see the Widow's Peak. Oh man, just man, beautiful. Like, come on, man. Thank you.
It was so good. I wasn't
happy with that. Oh, go ahead.
I was mad that we didn't get her old theme. I wanted her old theme. Wanted her old theme, and that was all that was important to me. But I'm happy she was there at all, you know. And we really, I don't know about you, but I was like, okay, you know, I think we're gonna see Lita, Trish Stratus. I think we're gonna see the by the numbers women here.
Yeah.
So the fact that they pulled out Jillian Hall, they pulled out Victoria, they pulled out
Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson, yeah. So I'm happy with the surprise lineup that they had for this one.
And they gave us Toni Storm from NXT, which I thought was great.
And her little angle with Billie Kay.
Like I liked her part in it. I liked her part in it, but I wasn't too happy with the whole Billie Kay angle. Like at all. Like I was just like, it's funny. It was funny the first 2 times that she did it, you know, but like it was just like, When she finally got in the Rumble, I started enjoying her character a lot more. But when she was sitting outside, I was like,
It's a lot harder to stomach when you consider how long she's been out of a tag team.
Yeah.
And that we're running this thread like 6 months after the Iconics are broken up. might be a bit late to run this one, but it is what it is, right?
But I was happy overall. Like I said, I was happy with all of the surprise entrants. My girl Ember Moon came in and did her thing.
Wait. I called it.
Which one?
Remember, what did I say at the last recording? I said Bianca Belair is going to be the Iron Woman.
Yeah, and she was from the number 3 spot. You called it like 100%. Now let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this particular match, because I will have to say that this is one of the best Final Fours in the Women's Royal Rumble that I've seen.
Absolutely.
Like this legit was Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, and Bianca Belair gave us a hell of a ride
Solid. So
to
solid.
that ending. And uh like I said, love me some Ripley, love me some Charlotte Flair from time to time. Like in that particular environment, I like her, but I'm not a huge fan of Charlotte in general. Um, I thought there was a good once again. These four ladies made me believe that any one of them could possibly win.
Yeah.
Like
And
real talk.
and actually, we talked about it earlier. I saw the opposite effect of what we talked about earlier. Earlier we talked
Yeah,
about how we see people strong like Roman used as a storytelling device, and then it's like we everyone walks into this. We knew Roman was gonna win, so
yeah,
let's have blinks of convincing people that anyone other than Roman is gonna win, that Owens is gonna win, and we have blinks of that. And
yeah.
they did that in both fucking rumbles here,
Yes, they did.
where they used Charlotte as this bargaining chip, as like this mainstay, like she is this little piece that she might win it and she might take it home again, and knowing
Mhm.
damn well everyone will fucking riot for that. While you have like 4 or 5 other women in there that look strong. That was so fucking smart. And
Yeah, it
having them
was.
team up with against Charlotte at the end was even fucking better. It's like just years of vindication. So good.
And, and yes, folks, I 100% expect Rhea Ripley to be making her main roster debut soon.
Oh, I don't know if you know, but I've heard that that match that she had with Raquel Gonzalez a while back,
Uh,
where she was put through the entrance ramp, where she was like put
yeah,
through the fucking floor. I heard that that might have been her go away match.
yeah, from
I heard that.
NXT
Yeah, I heard that was her goodbye match from NXT.
that she put over Gonzalez on her way out the door. Like, yeah, I heard the exact same thing. And last night confirmed it for me. Watching her performance in that Royal Rumble, I'm like, it was kind of like with Damian Priest. It was no surprise to me that he debuted on Raw tonight.
Yeah,
Because that performance that he put forth was one of those performances that was like, okay, yeah, you're main roster bound, bro. Like,
they
have fun.
built up Nakamura for the last month just to get put out by Priest in convincing fucking fashion. And
Yep.
am I mad about that? No, because Priest
Okay.
is fucking great.
Now,
Punisher
speaking
Martinez
of
has been at
Priest,
this bitch for a while now. Sorry, what's up?
look, I have to say this. Bad Bunny. Look, all I can say is your song sounds amazing. What I could understand of it, the beat's savage, and Booker T seems to like it.
Booker T's
So I
into
guess
it.
it's all cool.
They,
Like,
they literally referenced the fucking he did not just say that angle.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
you
I was like,
recognize that, right?
yes. And I was just like, all right, man. All right. But yeah, Bad Bunny. That's all I'm just gonna say Bad Bunny.
At
Watch the
least
Royal Rumble.
at least it was funny. Like
Yes, it was.
at least it was comical. I'm into it.
Well, I'll say it like I said it earlier to my girl. I liked everything about Bad Bunny's appearance at the Royal Rumble except for his performance.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. And at
Loved
first,
everything about his appearance.
it didn't even click for me when the Miz came out and destroyed all his shit. I was like, oh, he's just being a heel, and I was like, oh wait, it's because he told him no. It didn't
Yeah.
click for me like until a minute after. Like, no, he just fucked his shit because you said no.
And you'll see when you watch Raw tonight that there was an angle that he played where he showed up on Raw tonight as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, love Bad Bunny, love everything else that he did. Just don't perform again because I can't understand half the shit you're saying.
Go back.
Maybe
Fuck, go back.
actually, maybe I'm having that issue. Like if you've ever seen, for those of you who watch South Park, if you've ever seen the issue of South Park, where I think it's Kyle doesn't like the current day music because to him all it sounds like is people shitting.
Oh, yeah, because he listens to everyone else, it's music, but to him, it's literally the sounds of just ass blasting constantly. Yeah.
That's what maybe it's just because I'm too old. Like that's why Bad Bunny just didn't sound good to me because I'm like Kyle. I'm just getting too old, so it all just sounds like people shitting. Needless to say, okay, so I'm sorry, I just had to throw in the South Park reference there. But overall, the men's rumble did not disappoint.
Wait, hold
The
up, hold up.
women's rumble really didn't disappoint.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair winning was the best possible outcome. I think she completely deserves it. Her character was over on Raw. It's over on SmackDown. She is the EST of WWE, and she'll be at WrestleMania in the main event where she belongs to be.
Exactly. We've talked about it before, and they have the tendency to strike when the iron is long cold. to come
Mm-hmm.
in after that person is their hot streak is done and they're not as hot with the crowd. This, despite having no fucking crowd, was pulled off excellently
Yes.
because everyone right now is 100% behind Bianca Belair and what she has going on. Ever
Mm-hmm.
since she debuted, she's looked pretty fucking strong there.
Yep.
And save for a few things building up to it, I think it's been pretty fucking consistent. And there was no better a time. And of course, like looking at it, I was like, okay, you get to the final five and you start thinking,
Oh,
you
hey.
you get to the final five and you start thinking like any one of these five can win. What that's
Mhm.
gonna look like, right? Like what the fuck is that gonna look like? And in my head, it's like I'm okay with Natalia winning. I'm okay with Rhea winning. If Charlotte wins, I'm just turning this shit off now. But but like it was like it was this lineup of people, and despite all that, her coming out on top was probably the best ending going into this. It was just the best time
Well,
for it.
here's something hilarious. So when Natalia comes out at number 30, I look at my girl and I go, "Yeah, Natalia's gonna win." And she's like, "Why?" And she's like, "Why?" I'm like,
Natalia is
"Because
booked hella strong, bro.
no, because no." When she came out, I go, "Nobody wears an outfit that ridiculous, and this is the night they're gonna win the Royal Rumble."
Nobody wears some shit like that if they ain't winning. No, it's literally like when you saw Seth come out last year with fully customized ring gear for the Cincinnati fucking Bengals, bro. Literally, it's like, oh, bro, come on now.
Yeah,
You got the
yeah.
fully customized gear and nobody else does. Come on now.
Oh man, but needless to say, oh, let me give a shout out too while we're talking about the women's rebel to the people who came up with the concept of what they did with Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
I love that and I love that it was Rhea Ripley
Yeah.
that that did it too. That was pretty cool. But like I
From
love the
one
fact
top
that
bitch to another. Fuck you.
yeah, like they get I love that they give her the whole zoom in like she's about to go evil and they get all close and then Rhea Ripley's just like, "Nope."
Fuck you.
And like my girl even noticed like half the screens had went out and all of a sudden they threw out the ring and they were just like, "Boop, okay, back to normal.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
go."
no, no. It was funny because they just started wrestling and like nothing ever fucking happened. Like
Yeah.
nothing happened before that point. Rhea Ripley herself, the person who threw her out, stopped. Was like, all right, fucking, just start swinging on someone else. It's so fucking good, man.
Oh my god, what was it? It was in the men's rumble. There was this moment
Wait, hold up.
where I think it was like Edge and somebody was in the corner. And I think it was Braun Strowman or somebody was like running the corners, like slamming into people, and they went to go run towards the two that were in the corner, and they both got out the way, like, "Oh hell no!"
No, no,
And
yeah,
they just
oh yeah.
moved.
I saw that. It was Edge and I think it was Edge and Priest or Edge and someone else.
Yes,
But yeah,
yes.
someone was going for the corners, and they were just like, "Oh, well, what the fuck, bro?" And you can see them literally while grabbing each other and struggling like a
Oh man,
left.
but that was the one thing I liked about the Rumble last night in general is it gave us a lot of moments, a
Yeah.
lot of moments. In the men's and the women's spectacle, they gave us a lot of moments.
Look,
In the men's room,
hold up, let me get this
I'm
out
gonna
of
be. I'm gonna show you my favorite moment right now. Okay, I'm gonna show you my favorite moment.
What's up?
I spit in the face of those who don't want to be cool. That
Yes.
was my moment. I marked
Literally.
out in that moment.
My little brother was just like, he's winning it all. Carlito's winning it all. Carlito's winning it all.
Yacked. He came
I
back
was
looking yacked.
You looking jacked, bro. The Booker T, though. You looking real jacked, brother.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
here's another quick side story that I've told like 50 billion times on the show, but I actually met and got to have a decent, like long, like 35, 45-minute conversation with him at that same house party where I saw Victoria. Him and Chris Masters were both there, but me and him got to have a pretty deep conversation on just racism and wrestling. That was just, you can't hear it better from anybody else than people who are involved in it. The things that he heard working on the road in places in some places down south was just like, ooh,
I
like
would
yeah.
imagine as a member of the family of one of the most influential Puerto Rican wrestlers of all time, right? As passionate as that would be, you would sadly catch a lot of flack for that. It
Yep.
sucks because people like Carlito, as you know, are incredibly fucking respectable workers and have done a lot for this business that people don't fucking talk about.
So the man's it's glad to see him back, and he actually is back. Like he had a tag team match tonight with Jeff Hardy on Raw. So
Again, like, why does the dude look better than he did 10 years ago? Like, so.
well, he just looks like he looks like a way more jacked up version of himself. Like he went out and added like 50 pounds of muscle. Like even from when I remember seeing him at WrestleMania weekend, like he wasn't that big. But damn, yeah, bro's looking good, and I'm glad he's back in the WWE ring. The WWE needs somebody who can spit in the face of those who do not want to be cool.
Imagine the interaction between him and Rockstar Shinsuke. That's all I need, man. Look at that shit. I'm all with it. That mid-card talent, baby.
And he wasn't the only surprise. We also saw a person who got Intercontinental Champion Bobby Lashley and United States Champion Bobby Lashley, Intercontinental Champion Big E to work together, and that was the one and only Hurricanes coming through,
running the angle 2 years repeating in a row. So he came back in 2019, and he did that angle I think between Reigns and Cena. Was it? If you remember? Yeah, he recreated the Austin and fucking Triple H chokeslam moment from the 2001 Rumble with Cena and Reigns, and now he created it with two of the biggest motherfuckers on the roster right now. I fucking love Shane Helms. Anyone who says anything else is wrong, man. Shane Helms is a fucking treasure.
Yes, he is to the wrestling world. Trying to think of who else kind of made their little comeback, because Damian Priest debuted, Carlito came out.
Real quick. Drawing back to that Alexa Bliss thing, it didn't dawn on me until after the Rumble, but it's like, okay, if the Fiend is the most OP thing in all of wrestling, right, then how do you stop the Fiend? Don't let him transform into the Fiend to begin with. And then immediately it's like, there's your fucking...
really?
Alexa Bliss problem, too.
Yep. Oh, man.
Before it happens, and Rhea...
She thought about that. I just love how, because if you watch the moment happen, everybody kind of backs into these corners fighting each other. Then they all kind of turn around to her like, oh, when the lights start going out, oh shit, the hell's happening? What's going on with this bitch? Like, and Rhea Ripley's just like, no, fuck this shit, get rid of her.
This Alexa empty. Yeet.
You know, exactly. Yeeted her ass right up out the ring. And I hope it'll set up an amazing feud with her and Rhea Ripley later on down the road. But
yeah, walking into the Rumble though, they did a good job of running a lot of those little angles, and arguably in the men's Rumble, the single best return, at least for me. As much as I love Hurricane Helms, man, as much as I love Priest, Martinez, fucking Goth Vampire Man, you know. There is nothing better than seeing
the goth guy from New York, okay?
Gets in spas with his fucking pants on, man. God damn it. But in my opinion at least, but from what I've heard, large and wide is the agreement that the return of Christian Cage is what hit the hardest for most. And as did it for me, yes, sir.
Peeps.
Yes, the peeps.
Looking for the peeps.
So good.
Yeah.
And again, he was in great condition too. All things considered, he was in great condition, you know.
And they gave us some great moments, him and Edge, in that Rumble. That double spear was amazing. It was off the hook. I loved it.
There was never a day apart, right?
So faux pas that not many noticed. If you did watch backstage and then watch the Rumble, you'll notice that backstage actually got it wrong. Initially, backstage said that Randy Orton would be entering number 1 and Edge would be entering number 2.
Nope.
But it wasn't that way.
No, sir.
And I'm glad it wasn't, because I think the story of him winning from number 1 is a much better story. And yeah. Edge is a beast. I'm glad he's back in the ring. I think he's going to start hopefully he'll start doing the Undertaker thing, and he'll make his comeback around Royal Rumble, and then you know, have a battle with wrestling
as a fucking legend, right?
Exactly. Now, let me get to the people on the internet that go ahead.
I do want to address one last thing about the men's Rumble.
What was that?
Only because we haven't brought it up yet. and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you might know it off the top of your head here, but you'll notice there is something that WWE is explicitly not addressing here, and
Somebody wasn't in the Rumble? No?
so remember, you'll notice that they're probably going to be saying now that Edge is one of only two men who has won the Rumble from the number one position, right?
Him and Shawn Michaels, correct.
Wrong.
Really?
Edge isn't the second.
Who was the second?
Edge is the third.
Who was the second? To win it all?
Do you remember the 2005 Rumble, my boy?
Okay, I'm too old. No.
No, that's okay. No. This is good. This is good. Because if you don't remember, the 2005 Rumble was won in part by the man who walked in at the number one position by the name of Christopher Benoit.
Really?
Benoit won the 2005 Rumble from the number one position. He Iron Manned it out, and he won it by defeating the Big Show.
So another Vince McMahon censorship of the Benoit legacy.
I was gonna say,
Damn.
most people aren't gonna hear
Catch
that.
that, yeah.
They're painting that one over as per usual.
See, where I thought you were going was the last minute removal of my boy.
One
I did not get to bask in his glory.
I was gonna say, you'll
during
notice
this year's Royal Rumble.
when Keith Lee was awfully absent, very quietly so, right?
Yes, very much so. Yes and no, because I went on the internet and was able to find out what happened. And I guess Mia Yim, which a lot of people don't know, Mia Yim is his wife, tested positive for COVID.
Oh,
So I would assume that since that's her husband, contact tracing would lead to him being held out of the Rumble for quarantine, so on and so forth. She tested positive like 2 days before the Rumble,
that does
which
give
is also
give an interesting prospect.
yeah.
Do you think what are the chances that you think Lee would have won the Rumble if he was here? Do you think Edge might have been Plan B?
I think so.
'Cause I don't know about you, but Edge winning the Rumble feels a bit sporadic.
It does.
Especially as someone like me and you who keeps up with the dirt sheets, keep up with PWI, that listens to the rumor mill, right?
Yeah.
It does feel a little sporadic that Edge walked in and won it, and Edge has obviously always looked strong, and it could be believed that he was there. So it does kind of feel like maybe he was Plan B, you know?
Maybe.
I don't know about you, but it does sound a little
No,
possible that Lee was meant to win this and was pulled last minute, right?
it was pulled last minute because, like I said, and if you notice, like I said, nothing was mentioned throughout the entire Rumble about him or why he wasn't in.
Like Lee wasn't even fucking existing prior to this shit.
It was Keith who,
yeah,
you know. So it was just interesting. And then and also when you watch Raw, you'll see what I'm talking about. Retribution. Yim doesn't come out with Retribution this week either.
Oh, she's actually finished with Retribution, is what I've heard. I've actually heard that because I don't know if you know, but Mercedes Martinez is officially no longer part of Retribution. She is officially detracted. I've heard a lot of reports that Mia Yim is officially detracted as well, and that we're looking at Retribution pretty much just being T-Bar, Mace, Slapjack, and Mali.
That might work considering they weren't really doing anything with the female participants in Retribution anyway, other than just have them be out there as cheerleaders for the guys. You know, to have there be more people.
To rebrand Retribution. It's not too late to slap a new coat of paint on it, especially with people as good as Dijakovic and Shane Thorne.
Well, I would say yes, you're right about it's not. It wouldn't be that hard to slap another coat of paint, or just do something with them.
Yeah, or do something. It's not
just do something with them.
Start writing shit for them now.
You know exactly. Like put them in a title picture. Put them up against the Hurt Business as faction versus faction. You know, like give us something real. You know,
and they have done that, but the Hurt Business just ate their asses alive, and that is believable because the Hurt Business is a group of very well talented motherfuckers.
So real quick before we wrap this wrestling session up, we can get to AEW next week. Like there really wasn't much. They got the beach week going on, so there really wasn't too much going on. Superstar Spectacle.
Let's talk about that. Yeah,
I had forgotten that it was even on till the next day. To be honest with you, and I was home all day, so I could have watched it. Yeah. I just had forgotten that it was on. Until I was like, until I saw a thing talking about Superstar Spectacle and showing everybody standing in the ring.
I was like, what the fuck
and I was
is
just
this?
like, what? Oh yeah, they were supposed to be doing that. They didn't advertise it as heavily as they advertise a lot of their other,
Super Showdown and
yeah,
Ground.
Indian driven pay-per-views, which we're gonna get, I guess, one every year for like the next almost 10 years, according to the deal the
They signed
WWE
that
signed.
deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, or at least 5 years. 'Cause I think they're doing like 2 a year, and they do a total of 10 shows out there.
I'm guessing
For like,
COVID's had an effect on that, right?
yes, but I like the show that they put on. And my God, they need to get those dudes. The dude who said he was an accountant, and then the other dude who said, "Oh God, I can't remember their names." But the two big ass 7-foot Indian dudes that reminded me of the Great Khali, except they could go.
The face paint and the
No, not those two. Not the two that wrestled with Drew McIntyre. Those were two. That's Usher Shear or
yeah.
No, I'm talking about them two big 7-foot motherfuckers that wrestled with Daniel Bryan or was it Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler? Or no, Daniel Bryan and Ricochet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those two motherfuckers. They need to get those two motherfuckers to the main roster as soon as possible.
No,
like
really,
real
no,
talk.
Really. You're not even wrong. You know, now that AOP is out, which I'm still fucking recovering from, AOP is gone, and I'm not okay with that. They need a good Haas tag team. Yep. AOP was that shit, and those motherfuckers can go.
Give them to Seth Rollins, bro.
Honestly, most of the time we walk into these things looking. I'm not gonna say that we expect shit, right? But I'm gonna say that they have a thing here where they present new talent on this. Usually, they present their new prospects here, and I'm gonna say that I was used to seeing something more green here. I thought I was gonna see something a little bit more amateur. Nah. That shit was
the closest.
It was driven, and they were trained really fucking well.
Yep.
Amazingly so. All of that shit was incredibly solid. That played out less like some sort of fucking trial run, like they did with those 6 dudes at Super Showdown, and more or less like a showcase of what they've been working on over the last like 9 months. And holy shit, does it look good!
Oh my God! Like I said, and then you get to the main event, and they have this dude. They remind me of the Viking Raiders.
Yeah,
except they're just more in Indian garb instead of the Viking garb.
Literally a deadly Eastern Viking Raider, right?
Right. You know,
but that's no jabs because they're fucking good.
They're damn good. You know, those guys could go. I would say the guy that wrestled Finn Balor, once again, can't remember his name, pretty good. The guy that wrestled AJ Styles, that guy gave him a hell of a match. And on top of that, the guy, man, like, I want to see some of these guys in NXT. I want to see some of these guys in WWE on the main roster and soon. You know, because
they have a good crop of fucking talent. There's a lot of shit that they can do with that.
And I guess they were saying the two big guys were both trained by Khali.
I'm not surprised because I don't know if you know, but Khali runs probably one of the most well-known wrestling schools in that whole fucking country.
Really?
Khali runs probably one of the most well-known wrestling schools in that whole country. Khali,
because I knew that, like,
wrestling pillar there.
we'll talk a little bit with Jamil about it as well, because he actually, the guy trained at the same school. I don't know how much contact Jamil directly had with him, but I know that he trained for a little bit at the APW school. And like I said, the guy was an amazing talent. Only thing I knocked him on, to be honest with you, was he needed a mouthpiece. Like, sorry, Khali.
When it's like, look, man, you need a mouthpiece. You need someone to present you because you got the muscle, but you don't got the presentation.
Yeah, but you don't got the presentation. But overall, so final subject before we wrap this up. I'm super excited because starting in March, I'll be able to watch WWE on my TV. Have I told you this story yet?
Oh shit!
Right now, I cannot. I have to stream everything that's on the network, like from my laptop or from my phone to my TV in order to watch it on my big screen TV, because I can't get the WWE network on there for the life of me. I don't know how to add apps to Vizio. So
it's hard as shit, and honestly, that's why I run it through an app on my console.
Right, and so, I'm like, damn. Like, all right, fine. I'll just stream it from my laptop. It's fine. Like, it's not really that much of a hassle. Mm-hmm. Well, then that announcement came that WWE is moving the WWE network to Peacock, the whole thing. And I was like, really now? And they were like, yeah. Well, that's what the article said. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I realized Peacock is already preloaded onto my TV. So all I have to do is sign up. And I'll be able to watch all the WWE Network stuff through my TV.
Right. Like, at first I heard this and I was like, yo, what the fuck's gonna happen to me, right? I was like, oh man, I gotta pay for something else. And then I found out about the Peacock pricing, right? And then I found out that Peacock has been so insignificant to the bill of my family here that we have had Peacock this whole time and I didn't even fucking know.
Didn't even know it.
And so now I'm no longer needing to pay for my fucking network bill. Meaning I can just get the ad-free version of Peacock so I don't have any ads on my fucking network.
See,
and that's I thought this shit was whack. But now the more I look into it, it's like, dude, this is saving my ass a lot of money.
Well, they were saying the official crossover will happen. I guess there's WWE content on Peacock already.
There is, but it's not the only way to find the network content.
Right. But come March, Peacock will be the only way to find old episodes of Raw, SmackDown, old pay-per-views. All of that will be through Peacock.
Yeah, as of March 18th, everything, the entirety of the network app in its archive, its original content, its chronicle, its everything in its entirety is literally in America only going to be fucking accessible through Peacock. And so if you want to access in America without Peacock, you better go find yourself a VPN, bro.
Yep. Well, I say, and so in the most selfish way I can say it, thank you, WWE. Because now I can watch you on my TV.
In the most money-grubbing way possible. Thank you, Vince.
All right. So, like I said, we'll talk a little AEW NXT next week. We've filled up a lot of the show so far with just Rumble talk, and I think that should be good enough. So let's take a break now. Real quick 2-minute break. We'll come back and we're going to talk some WandaVision.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Excellent show, y'all. Excellent. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on Spreaker.com. Peace. All right, and we are back. How y'all doing? I had to take a little break there. Hope y'all enjoyed those commercials. That KD5P is coming up this Friday. Anyway, all right. So here we go. WandaVision. For those of you who have not been watching, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your eyes.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for your heart. I'm sorry for your brain. This is one of the most amazing shows I've seen, and I don't even understand the people that bitch and talk about it supposedly being slow. Like, it's not that slow of a show to me. It's not.
It's a little slow by Marvel standards, yeah. By Marvel
Right.
standards, absolutely. But like in isolation, it's fucking insanely good.
And here's my other point about it. In a single movie, I understand you being like, get to the point, like let's see what we're handling, what we're dealing with here. You're talking about a TV show that they're planning on going seasons with,
plural.
you know, multiple seasons. This isn't going to be over. So don't expect to be given all the information in like 3-4 episodes. It's just unrealistic to expect that when they're playing a long game with you. There's stuff that they've already planned pretty much almost through the end of this season, and have probably already started looking towards what they want to do with the next season. So at the end of the day, like, slow down, folks. Enjoy what you're seeing. You know, episode 3 saw Wanda give birth and the disappearance of Geraldine. And episode 4 showed us what the hell happened to her, and that was awesome.
It is a fucking trip of a show. Like I told you, like this, it was gonna go in weird directions based off the first 2 episodes. I already know there was gonna be some fuckery, some intradimensional, I'm making something I don't mean to be making. But this is going way worse than I could have predicted. It is, but it's so good though. It's so good. It's a different story, especially in connection to someone who's directly in the MCU. This is different. This isn't, we're not in the same universe. This isn't like the Netflix shows where they're connected. This person was a pivotal character in the entirety of the storytelling of the MCU. And now they're finally giving her some fucking real story here. I'm not saying she was screwed over at any point, but now we're seeing something much more deeper. I think into the
you are.
some deeper into the psyche of Wanda and everything going on, obviously, with Vision. And there's so much to explore, and they've done it in such a psychologically interesting way. It's so fucking awesome. I love it.
So for those of you who don't know, there were some great moments in 3, but for the first 3 episodes, we're effectively in the sitcom. We're watching it as viewers, as viewers of the sitcom, and it was great. It was a great way. Right. And and it was a great way to tell a story. I understood how some people were just like, what's going on here? But you saw.
It's supposed to be like a Leave It to Beaver sort of 60s dreamscape, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And every episode, she moves forward a decade, you know, so to speak. So I love the fact that they break the monotony with episode 4, where pretty much the entire episode takes place outside of Wanda's world,
weird reality sort of thing. Yeah.
One of my favorite moments is the cops sitting there.
Yeah.
And Jimmy walks up to him and goes, "So, this town, Westview, tell me what you were telling me about it before." He's like, "Doesn't exist." Monica Rambo's like sitting there looking at the like Westview sign, like, "Sure about that?" He's like, "Yep. Where are you from?" "Eastview." And I was just like, it was just like, what? Okay,
asshole.
I can roll with that. But bringing back Jimmy and bringing back Darcy was 2 of my favorite. Like, all right, cool. Because I looked up, I saw her on the truck, and they're bringing her to the military thing, and I go, it's old girl from Thor. That's awesome, dude. They brought her back. They brought her back.
So cool. It was it's an interesting cameo, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
And knowing that effectively they're lining her up to be a major player in the show. You know, I think she's the one that's going to figure out what's going on.
Expand your fucking universe, damn it.
Exactly. And so and then, like I said, when we finally found out what happened to Geraldine, all of a sudden Geraldine was in there, and then Geraldine was gone.
Geraldine was not there.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Like that was, and finally seeing Wanda like acknowledge something like, wait a minute, no, no, no,
This shit ain't right. This shit
yeah,
ain't
this shit ain't
right.
right.
This
and
ain't right.
so it was a great way to break us into the fact of what's going on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously the end of episode 3, when we see Monica Rambeau get shot out of the
Yeah.
thing and land on the ground, it was like, okay, I kind
Oh,
of get what's going on here now, but whoa, like, damn, she just said no, Geraldine, bye.
it's sudden.
Yeah. And so because of that, I was just like, all right. But then when they brought you back and they kind of explained everything to you, like that's one thing I loved about episode 4 is it took you back to before episode 1. It took
Yeah.
you back to when they were when they were figuring everything out from the outside. Now, I say all of that because I want to get to one of the most poignant scenes since the last Marvel movie I saw, and anything Marvel. The scene when they snap back to Monica Rambeau coming back from the blip. Like, in my feels, man. In my feels. Came to, for those of you who don't know, she comes to, like, basically her body's being reassembled and she's sitting in a hospital chair, and she's looked and she's like, where is she? And where is she? And I'm like, who the hell is this bitch talking about? Like, what is, initially I'm sitting there going, what the hell?
Fuck
And
is
then
this?
she,
Yeah. Right.
yeah. And then she starts talking to the doctor, and I'm like, oh no, her mom died while she was in the blip. Oh no. Oh no.
It
Like,
slowly starts to hit you like, oh wait,
oh,
oh wait.
oh. And then when dude told her she wasn't allowed to fly anymore, I was like, oh, dude,
Oh,
why? Why?
it's fucking sad, but
Yeah.
it's a good scene though because
Yeah.
it's like it's that side ball of you weren't thinking of that, were you?
Yep. Well, it's another angle
Yeah.
on Endgame. And that's what I've always loved. That's why I couldn't wait after Infinity War to watch a lot of the Marvel series on Netflix and watch Agents of Shield, because I'm like, how are they going to handle the blip? Like it was like, holy shit, what are they going to do with this? And then when everybody started coming back, I was like, oh shit. They by that point, Agents of Shield was 3 universes away
Yep.
and around the corner. So
Yep.
they didn't do nothing, and neither did the Marvel movies. They was in another universe too.
Like if you know how at the end of Ant-Man 2, you watched Ant-Man 2, right?
Yeah,
The end of
Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man 2, where he gets trapped in the negative zone
Right.
because they got blipped in that one moment.
Yeah.
That level of detail with the blip affecting the whole fucking world, that right there should have been taken everywhere. And I'm not saying it was like their whole family should have died, much like Ant-Man's, much like Scott Lang's, but that level of detail of affecting everyone's world,
Exactly.
that was perfect there, and that was applied right fucking there.
Yep.
Mm.
And so very great storytelling. Can't wait to see. I was corrected on the internet. I told a gentleman that we had 6 episodes left, but I was corrected and told we have 5 episodes left. The first season is only to be 9 episodes. Okay. So I was corrected that we have 5 episodes left.
It's an interesting number.
But like I spoke, yeah, you know. But I said, but also remember, folks, like I said, we're talking seasons.
Seasons.
Yeah, like this is only the beginning of a story. It's going to take you a while to tell. Imagine this: to use the MCU as reckoning by as a measuring stick. By the time you get done with this season, you're basically about Iron Man 2 into the story.
You're not even into Avengers yet. You're not even at phase 1, man.
Exactly.
We're in the prologue. Nick Fury hasn't even showed up at the end yet.
So like people got to understand that like these Disney shows are going to have a lot of longevity to them. But before I transition to the DC show that we were going to talk about, I had to bring up the fact that Disney Plus announced today that there's going to be a Disney Plus show surrounding Wakanda.
Really?
Me and my brother Steve were both talking about, like, unless they place it in a completely different verse of the multiverse, you do not recast T'Challa. You do not recast. You can maybe it's a prequel, and it's when T'Challa was a child, and then you can cast some kid to play a young T'Challa, but you do not recast T'Challa as Black Panther. You either bring him in from another universe, or like we talked about on the other show, you bring in Killmonger as a good version of himself. You know that
Killmonger
yeah,
or Okie
yeah,
or any number of any character there. But again, I agree with you in the harshest way humanly possible here. There is no way, shape, or form that they should ever fucking recast T'Challa.
yeah,
It is different if you want to bring in Killmonger as a good Killmonger.
yeah. And
If
I'll
you
take
want to
that.
bring if you want to bring in Okie as the next Black Panther, go for it. If you want to use
Word.
Shuri as the next Black Panther, please go for it. But don't try and recast T'Challa.
Yeah.
That is literally just going to straight up lead to outright rejection.
Like I said, the only
I say
way.
that, yeah, like from a business standard, from a fan standard, from a writing standard, they have boxed themselves in here, and so they can't take it to the they can't take it to the past like
Yeah.
WandaVision, and so they're very restricted in the way that they can do this, and I have faith that they won't be a complete dumb fuck about it.
And unlike the show I'm about to talk about, which actually did a pretty good transition recasting their character,
Right?
but as much as I love Ruby Rose, she wasn't as much the character Batwoman as Chadwick Boseman was T'Challa.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's obviously like
sorry. You were a
she,
great
she
Batwoman.
she might have had the look or she might have had the skill, but you can't be the character like Chadwick Boseman was T'Challa.
Exactly.
Yeah, we talked about it
So
on the show. Some people are just made for certain roles, and he fit that shit like a glove.
Patrick Stewart, when he played Professor X, there was nobody better for that
Yep.
role. Period.
Not gonna happen anywhere else. Not happening.
Period.
Yep.
But yeah, so like, and see, and here's where you take a note from Fox. Fox got around that by recasting the character as a younger version of himself, and
Yep.
then keeping all of the storylines as a younger version. So if you want to give me teen T'Challa running around as Black Panther,
Okay, yeah.
I'm good with that.
Well,
But if you're going to try to recast the
see that
T'Challa that was in, no, don't. Just leave it alone.
yeah, they've already boxed himself in a little bit, only because we saw him actively become the Panther in Civil War.
Mhm.
They've even boxed themselves in there. But if the only way I can see that working is if they take T'Challa back that far. I'm talking like
Yeah.
bring T'Challa back between the times of like I'm talking like 9 to 14 at absolute latest.
Yeah.
Anything after that, you're gonna have some troubles.
Yeah, pretty much. But as I was saying, we were going to talk about. I'm just going to give you the basic story rundown on the new Batwoman. I'm kind of liking it. Young black girl. As we were talking about off air, for some odd reason, every DC character seems to have some sort of martial arts background. So this one does too. She's like a black belt and a former teacher. Like they even go as far to point out that she's a black belt, that she's an ex-felon who was put into jail for a crime she did not commit, of course, because they never commit the crimes. If they commit the crimes, then they're a bad guy.
Yeah.
But for a crime
redemption and my hero.
Exactly.
What's wrong with you? Get out of here.
but she did not commit the crime. She goes to jail like 18 months and gets out. And so she's having trouble finding a job. And so she's living in her van and she's sitting there talking to her counselor. And the counselor's like, well, you need to get a job because your parole states that you need to get a job. And she's like, do you realize how hard it is? And one of the questions that her caseworker asked her is, well, did you try going to teach at a dojo? So obviously she's at the level martial arts wise that she can teach. So that kind of establishes that the character has an ability to fight before you even put them in the suit. I thought they did a pretty decent job of building her character and giving her a reason to want to be in the suit. Basically, initially, as always, with just about every Bat character, their first initial flight is about revenge. And hers is too. Her first initial fight is about trying to get revenge for the people that killed her mom, and finding them. And of course, her and Lucius Fox. I forget what they call his kid on Whatchamacallit, but Lucius Fox's son. But she gets into it with him and Batwoman's real sister. But the coldest thing I've ever seen is, like I said last week, they just killed Kate Kane. Like, they didn't fuck around with like Kate ran off somewhere.
Fucking killed her.
Yeah, like unlike with Bruce, which by the way, when we talk about it later on, we need to talk about a couple episodes from now. We need to talk about on Titans, the dude that plays Bruce Wayne on Titans, smooth as fuck, love him.
Good no shit.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like yeah, man, like I'm like really, I was like y'all just killed like first episode plane crashes.
That's it.
No more Kate Kane, and all of a sudden the bat suit is laying there in all the wreckage, and she picks it up and finds it.
Literally, like rocks fall, everyone dies. Level of
Yeah.
Kate Kane's dead.
Pretty much. Like here's the thing about it. I messaged my my local comic book authority Jamil, and was like, "Yo, bro, did they just kill off Kate Kane on Batwoman?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yep, pretty much." I'm like, isn't that kind of like a big fuck you to Ruby Rose?
Yeah.
Like you can't even come back for special guest appearances. Only way your ass showing up is in flashbacks, bitch.
You don't even get references. You don't get an Elseworld.
Only way you will be seen on Batwoman ever again will be when we show old footage that we never used in the original season.
when we play reruns, bitch.
That's it. Like you dead. You dead. It's a new Batwoman now. Like you dead. And the new Batwoman didn't even kill her. Now this new Batwoman got to go off and try to fight somebody who was bad enough to kill Kate Kane. And they wonder why they say shit's always harder for black people. Like y'all don't get it, man. Come on. Come
This
on.
is what you. I'm Batwoman for one day, and this is.
I jest, people.
That's fucking hilarious.
But no, this season looks like it's mopping out good. I think you're finally going to have some interaction, some actual physical, because you've already had a couple of fights, but I think you're going to have some actual physical interaction between Batwoman and Red Alice. And they're actually slowly but surely trying to turn Red Alice into a anti-hero.
Okay.
Like, I think that's the direction that they're going. You know, now that Batwoman's not her sister anymore.
Now all of your built-in heat isn't there no more, right? Now you got to work around this.
Exactly. So I think because I believe in the comic books, at some point Red Alice becomes kind of an anti-hero for Batwoman. Like she doesn't always remain her enemy, and so I like the transformation. It was a good way to go with the characters. Really, the only way to keep the character on the show. You know, you had the whole storyline and everything intertwined between her and Red Alice in that first season. That if you sever that by killing the character, you got to find something else to do with the character, or you got to get rid of Red Alice at the same time.
I agree. Yeah, they could have easily just dropped it. They could have easily panicked and drop the whole shit, but they somehow managed to write a whole new character and have it still run. Yep. You know, it's hard to start up basically your whole main plot of your show over with the same characters. Yeah. It's arguably harder than starting with a whole new fucking fresh set of characters, right? So it's interesting that they were able to work that character in without it fucking up and just flopping hard. So I'm excited to see what they can run with it, right?
And I will mention this anytime we talk about stuff like this. Joss Whedon is the king of petty.
Joss Whedon, the king of fuck you. They didn't miswrite her shit on the way out.
You know, for those of you who don't know, when Buffy changed from being on what was it?
Was it
the WB?
Yeah.
To going to be on the CW.
Yeah.
Basically the CW told Joss Whedon they wanted everything about Buffy but him.
So like, fuck you, you're out, bro.
Right. So as a fucking writer, Joss Whedon did one of the biggest and most petty and biggest fuck you things by killing Buffy in the final season, the main character, killing Buffy in the final season on the WB,
knowing that they had another one lined up for next season, though. That's a very important point here.
Yes, and so basically forcing the writers on the CW to have to figure out a way to bring Buffy back. That didn't
stupid shit.
Yeah, and it didn't work. It wasn't just y'all can go watch it and be disappointed on your own. But yeah, it was just. But when I found out about it, because at first I was, you know, as a semi fan of Buffy, I wasn't hardcore. As a semi fan of Buffy, I watched that final season on WB, and I was just like, this nigga just killed her off.
Why that happened?
what the fuck? What the fuck are they gonna do next season? I remember sitting there watching the show like, what the fuck are they gonna do next season? How are we gonna have Buffy without Buffy? Like, what the fuck? And then when I heard,
come to find out, Joss Whedon made the literature fucking version of a middle finger on his way out. You know what martyrdom is? Martyrdom is the perk in Call of Duty that dictates that when you die, a grenade is gonna go off on your dead body. That's what Joss Whedon did. Joss Whedon said martyrdom, bro.
amen, man, amen. But yeah, I just had to bring that up because that's just one of the biggest petty. Like, people think Vince McMahon is petty. Nah, dog. No. Oh, here's a quick story that I wanted to tell too. That I read real quick, and this is about wrestling real quick before we move on to core. Fucking A, dude. Freddie Prinze Jr. I found out through reading this article with an interview with him. The reason why he left WWE is because there's an episode of Tough Enough where Stone Cold, right?
Mhm.
I guess the girl that was, I forget the name of the wrestler, but the girl that was speaking was like a mother of three. And she was like telling this whole story about how she was wrestling for her kids and so on and so forth. And that she wanted to succeed for them and da da da. And I guess in this sequence, Stone Cold stands up and goes, bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You know how many Father of the Year awards I've won? None. Right? And holds up a big bagel. Freddie Prinze Jr. said he was sitting in the green room and watched that. And in that moment, got up, walked out the green room, walked over to Gorilla, and put in his 2 weeks with Vince. He said later, after the show was over, Stephanie tried to come and sit him down and talk to him because they were about, he's like, she basically told him they were about to hand him SmackDown. Like, he was about to be the head writer on SmackDown. And she's like, are you sure you want to do this? And he was like, I want to win Father of the Year. When I read, I was like, damn, I knew he left, but damn, like that. And that's straight from his mouth. Like, this interview was straight from his mouth. This wasn't like some dude's hearsay, like backstage story. No, this was Freddie Prinze Jr. talking about why he quit WWE. Holy and shit, if that's not a G move.
That's some fucking balls.
He's like, fuck this shit. I'm out.
Fuck that. Goodbye.
Bye.
No, I don't, man. Again, like, just to go back without fully going into it, you know, I heard the other day like the story of Jonathan Coachman and the ways that they've ribbed his ass, and it's like, man, I would not want to work there. I'm good, man. Yeah. I'm fucking all right.
I wouldn't want to be anybody other than a top wrestler.
Yeah,
a Roman Reigns, a John Cena. I would not want to be anybody else.
Not crucial. Yeah. All right.
All right, actually, so
we're pushing it on time. Do you want to do core next time, or do you want to?
We can do core next time. We can do core next time.
I don't want to rush core, so let's.
All right. Then let's wrap it up. First of all, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for viewing if you're watching on YouTube. And we will be back later on this week on Sunday with another episode. We're going to talk a little core. We're going to talk a little Titans. We're going to talk a little Raw, SmackDown, AEW, NXT
series over the next few weeks.
So, any last words for him, Alpha?
You know how it goes. We're coming at you tonight with a late night episode. Still with the face cam this time, right? Still in person. You know, we're making it. We're still getting there. Wash your goddamn hands and be safe, my people.
Hell yeah. Especially off of what I just came over, man. Wash your damn hands, people. All right, later. Peace.